Do you believe? Do you believe?
Yes,
Do you
I
believe?
do.
I do.
Santa's coming? I believe.
You need to believe in order to achieve. Because if you believe you can do anything, you could be anything, you can create anything, you can achieve anything, and most of all, you can overcome anything. Isn't that what Toastmasters is about? It's about believing. Youth leadership is about believing. Believing you can stand in front of an audience and speak. The youth leadership program is something that is extremely important to me because once the first year that we did this 6 years ago, when we started, you see the students are shy, timid, introverted, and scared. They have a lot of fear. And what happens after 8 weeks is they blossom like a flower. They bloom. It's a beautiful rose. And they are a completely different person. And to watch that in the 8 weeks is the most gratifying experience you will ever experience. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to explain to you about youth leadership and how to run an actual youth leadership program. Now, I've given you some handouts, and hopefully everybody has a copy of it. I don't have enough copies for everybody because some of them didn't. So you're going to have to try to share.
Okay.
In the first page, this is kind of a docket that we have in our business plan that I spoke about earlier. This is a youth leadership program in our packet in terms of our business plan. And I gave you a copy of it so you can see it. And what this entails is how we're going to actually run our club, how we run the youth leadership program. On page 1, it gives you a kind of a brief outline of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, how much it costs, and who's going to sponsor it. And we have one coordinator and one co-coordinator. I really recommend having 2 people operate because we do a classroom. We actually teach a class at Buena Vista Elementary School between March and June. We meet 1 day a week on Fridays from 8:30 until 9:40, where the kids have recess.
Won't they come in and do this on their recess time?
No, actually, they come in and do it before they even do anything else. That's the first thing they do on Friday morning, is they do the youth leadership program. And we have it down to a complete science. If you go through the document, page 2 is an agenda. Page 3 and 4 is a letter. 1 is to when you start the program, you send out to the parents. And the second one is a letter to the parents about the graduation ceremony, because we do have a graduation ceremony for the, and what the students do is they show off their wear to the parents.
Cool.
So the parents get to see everything that they learned in the 8 to 10 weeks. We do it depending on the type of students that the teacher has. The teacher kind of tells us, well, they're kind of a little bit slow, so maybe we would make it 10 weeks. You know, if the teacher says, well, they're a little bit fast or they're quick learners, then we'll do it for 8 weeks. But it all depends on the type of students that we have in the program. Then the other 3 pages, the next 3 or 4 pages is about evaluations. The kids do evaluations. They do evaluate speeches. And the thing we try to do is to give them ideas of how to evaluate. And it's important that You give them ways how to evaluate, how to say, constructive ways how to give an evaluation. Not just say, well, you're no good. We want to motivate them, we want to evaluate them and motivate them that they want to come back and do another speech. And what's really hard for these kids is that they learn to not only give a speech, but how to give a constructive evaluation for the speakers. Now, the next couple pages are important because Toastmasters doesn't really give you a tool to use up to who's done what and when and how many times. So what I did was I created a spreadsheet in Excel that will track everybody's, whoever's done what. You put the name here, you put what their job they're going to do. They're going to be an odd counter, an evaluator, a speaker, Toastmaster, whatever, and then it'll track it down here. So each column that you put something in here, it'll track it down here, so you know how many times somebody spoke, how many somebody did an odd counter role, wordmaster role, Toastmaster, etc. This is very helpful when you're scheduling because you need to know how many times. You try to get everyone to speak at least twice and evaluate twice.
Alan, if that's a spreadsheet that you're doing this on?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, this program, is this a spreadsheet?
This is a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. And what I did was, anybody who's interested in doing it, I'll compress it all into a DVD, and I can send it to you or send it to you electronically, and then you can use all of the material that I gave you.
Okay.
And then the last page is a certificate that comes with, these packets when you get the books. And there are 2 books. It comes in a package of 5, so there's 1 coordinator guide and 5 participant workbooks. And it also comes with the certificates. Let me show you what it actually looks like. Very nice certificate that the students receive. They're also created in Word, so you can type in the name and it'll place everything in the right spot. So you don't even have to do that. We've done it for you. Now, what does it take to run a youth leadership program? Actually, it takes the club to do the youth leadership program. Club needs to find a school, a youth organization, I think 4-H, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, those type of organizations, or even high schools. Right now I'm talking to a group, I'll be speaking on Tuesday, I believe. We're trying to put a gavel club together at a high school for interested seniors, not seniors, but I think juniors and seniors want to go to college and they want to learn public speaking. So we're looking to put together something for them. So the club needs to, first of all, find a organization that's willing to do a youth leadership program. Make contact with a teacher. I have tried to do it through the districts, and the districts forget it. They don't want to be bothered with you. But if the teachers, if you can sell a teacher, and then they can go to the principal, and they in turn go to the district. And I think they have a real problem is, if they have a problem with the word free, I don't think they understand that. Because it doesn't cost them anything. And what's really important to me, in terms of why I do it, it's a great opportunity for the district to sell Toastmasters. I can tell you this, I've had a parent last year come to me who had a 2nd grader, and she wanted to know, are we going to be there in 3 years? I said, I don't know if I'm going to be alive in 3 years. But yes, we'll be there. It's really important that we run this program in terms of, for the students, the schools and the students. This is a great, great program. Teachers know nothing about public speaking. And I can tell you, I was in back to school night, my youngest daughter was AP English. And the teacher said, ah, every other sentence.
Oh, dear God.
It drove me crazy. I would have given him $20 just to keep quiet. That's how bad it is. And later I talked to him and said, I think you better go to Toastmasters because you really have a bad habit in terms of speaking and saying the filler words. He said, well, I'm not a public speaker. I said, no, you're a teacher. That shouldn't be in your vocabulary. So it is important in terms of teaching kids how to speak. It's helped us in our career. Just think what it would do for a student maybe in 5th grade who learns how to communicate and communicate well. You know, a lot of kids, especially in the poorer areas, let's say like in Pittsburgh and Richmond, just to name a few, if these kids could communicate, they would become better students. Think of that. Better students. Maybe instead of robbing a convenience store, maybe they'll go to college. Maybe they'll become an engineer. Maybe they'll be the next moon or Mars mission. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do, but we need to begin an education process that the schools can't provide. It's very important that we provide the schools with something that they can't do. And what better one is Toastmasters? We're all experts. Right?
Of course.
Right.
Let's not say it all. Right?
Right.
Okay, that's better.
You know, Alan, what would be, there are a number of schools that have after-school programs.
Yeah,
That
there's,
might be another source.
Boys and girls clubs.
yeah, Boys and Girls Clubs, 4-H clubs, after-school programs. But the one thing I think that the schools are willing to do, if we can sell it, is sell during school time. That is the best time to do it. And I can tell you this, employers are more than happy to contribute to something to that effect. Paula.
Over in Venetia, some of the students who have graduated and gone on to college come back to the high school and do, it's usually right in the summer session, either right after school is over or right before school starts, with the leaders, the up-and-coming leaders for the next year. So it's the student body leaders, sports teams leaders, any clubs or anything going on, and they do like a 2-day leadership training for them. And this would be really good because you could condense it down to fit, you know, say, hey, you know, it's going to last longer than 2 days, but you could get them excited about that because they're definitely the ones that are looking to go to college.
Right. And the most important thing is that the coordinator is the one who really is the one putting the program together. Because the coordinator is talking to the teacher and kind of get an idea of really what they're looking for. So that's why it's important that not the chair is the one making the connection. It should be the coordinator making the connection with the schools or whatever organization you want to operate a youth leadership program. Because that way you know, I have an idea of what they're looking for. Now in terms of the program I do, we don't do the leadership part because we don't have the time. We only have an hour and 10 minutes. So it makes it difficult to get in all the speaking roles, and so you have to eliminate something. So you have to kind of tweak it to meet whatever time you have available. Now if you do an after-school program or an evening program or whatever type of program you want to do, you would adjust it to that time frame. It's important that, I lost my train of thought now. It's important that we do this and expand our speaking and our Toastmaster programs so we can coordinate with the schools to better educate the students. I can tell you this story, that one year we had a student who turned absolutely blue the first time he spoke. Blue. Because he held his breath.
No.
And he almost passed out. So we sat him down, he got his composure, and he got back up there and he did a speech. He actually did a speech, which was great. So how do you do a youth leadership program? The first meeting we do with the students, we usually give maybe a speech. We talk about the program itself. Then we pair the students, two people who hopefully do not know each other. And they interview each other for 3 minutes each, find out about the person that you're talking to, find a little something about him, and then get in front of the class and introduce your partner. And each of them give a 1-minute speech about the person they interviewed. And that is their experience of speaking in front of the class. On the other hand, we as coordinator look to see what kind of skills they have and how we can improve. That's our first session. Our second session is we teach them what is a speech. Opening, body, and conclusion. The third session is we talk about how to evaluate. Now in the meantime, the kids now have started speaking. We did 8 roles for speakers, 8 roles for evaluators. We did no table topics. The second session we had speakers evaluation, and we introduced them to table topics. And table topics by far is the most fun because kids are fearless. I mean fearless. If you want to learn how to do table topics, they are the best ones to teach you. Because they are incredible. Now I have to tell you this story. For table topics, we had a word of the day which was blossom. And I made a big sign, 11 by 17, big sign. And I put it out in front, and I filled in one day and I had to do table topics. I forgot to use the word of the day. Now the kids really showed me up. Because the 8 evaluators after me used the word of the day. They just had to show off. They really let me know that they know what's going on. Now, it's important that we, as the adults and the parents, teaching them how to speak. And after 8, 9 weeks, we then do a rehearsal. Because we want to give them an opportunity to get used to speaking in front of their parents. Now that's really scary because kids get a little bit frightened. And when I started, I said, do you believe? And the thing about the students is they do believe that they can do it. Because when they perform flawlessly. For the last 5 years in the programs we did for the parents, there was no ums, no ahs. They were flawless. And what makes me nervous is that when they're too perfect, it looks rehearsed. But they all were absolutely incredible. And I have to tell you this story. We had a child who was introverted, very shy, had no friends, was just absolutely scared of her shadow. And at the end, we did not know she was going to do this. She got up in front of the audience and thanked us for giving her the courage to get in front of an audience and speak. Her mother later came up to me and said, I just want to thank you because my daughter now has friends and she's speaking in class. She's volunteering for programs. She's volunteering. She's never volunteered in her life. Now she has the courage to do things she never did before. And I think that's really, I mean, that just made me cry inside because that was incredible. For a child to do that, I think that's really incredible. And I was just in awe of that. And for me, there's no money in the world that anybody could give me for that kind of results. And that's really what excites me about youth leadership. Now you have people who are kind of like don't want to do things anymore. You do a youth leadership, you really want to be involved in Toastmasters. It is really an incredible experience. In fact, one of our members was going to quit, and I introduced him to youth leadership. Now he's rejuvenated, and now every year that's what he looks forward to. Really. I mean, he was he was going for his gold, and he just said it was kind of boring, and he just wasn't interested anymore. But youth leadership rejuvenated his Toastmaster experience, where now he wants to give speeches. In fact, he's a great teacher, by the way. In fact, he's a bigger kid than I am, because the kids love him. I mean, he's a big kid, and the kids absolutely love him. And sometimes I have to put a leash on him sometimes, because he can get a little bit obnoxious. But it's fun. I think he really enjoys it. So in closing, I just think it's important that we all, because this is a great marketing tool, that we can be involved in something that is great. And that you want membership, have the parents join Toastmasters. Because this little story I tell the parents is that in 3 years the kids are going to write a speech about borrowing the car. So parents, you better join Toastmasters so you can counteract that speech with a table topic.